Ladies and gentlemen, there's a secret that every successful person knows. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not even motivation. It's discipline. Discipline is that quiet force working behind the scenes when no one's watching. It's waking up before the sun because your dream demands more time. It's saying no to distractions so you can say yes to your goals. It's doing what you should do, especially when you don't feel like doing it. People think discipline is hard. But you know what's harder? Regret. Regret for not starting, regret for giving up, regret for knowing you could have but didn't. Motivation feels good, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes like a breeze, but discipline shows up every single day. It doesn't care how you feel, it just asks one question: are you committed or not? Look around, every champion, every master, every legend, they were once ordinary. But what made them extraordinary wasn't a gift, it was a habit. A habit built brick by brick with discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results, between dreaming and doing, between someday and today. So the next time you feel tired, uninspired or lost, remember this: you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be disciplined. Because in the end, the most powerful success story you'll ever write is the one where you never gave up. Discipline isn't about restriction, it's about direction. And that's where most people get it wrong. They hear the word discipline and immediately think of limitations, of saying no to fun, no to freedom, no to joy. But real discipline isn't a prison, it's a compass. It points you toward where you want to go and keeps you from getting lost in the noise of life. When you embrace discipline, you're not closing doors, you're opening the right ones. Imagine standing in the middle of 100 different paths. Every path looks interesting. Some are fun, some are easy, some are tempting shortcuts, but only one leads to your true potential. Without discipline, you will wander aimlessly. You will chase every shiny thing that comes your way. You will get distracted by the moment, by the craving, by the comfort. But discipline, it steps in like a guide. It keeps your eyes on the destination, not the distractions. And let's be honest, distractions are everywhere. Social media, notifications, comfort zones, bad habits, toxic people, they're all pulling you in different directions. Discipline doesn't eliminate these distractions. It helps you rise above them. It gives you the power to say, I see you, but I've got somewhere more important to be. That's not restriction, that's power. That's freedom, the kind of freedom that only comes when you're in control of your own time, your own choices, your own future. People talk a lot about clarity like it's some magical moment of enlightenment, but clarity doesn't come from overthinking. It comes from doing, from showing up every single day with discipline. When you do the hard thing again and again, things start to make sense. You stop asking, what should I do with my life? And you start saying, this is who I am. Because discipline reveals character. It shows you what you are made of. And it builds the kind of confidence that motivation alone can never give you. You see, motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. Motivation gets you excited, but discipline gets you results. You might be motivated for a week, maybe even a month, but what happens on the days you don't feel like it? What happens when it's cold, or you're tired, or you're not seeing progress? That's when most people quit. That's when dreams die, but not you, if you've got discipline. Because discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it just asks what needs to be done. There's something magical about doing the work consistently, even when it's boring, even when no one is clapping for you, even when the results are invisible. That's where transformation begins, in those quiet, lonely moments, when you show up anyway. That's when you become dangerous, because you're not relying on inspiration, you're building your future brick by brick, with patience, with grit, with vision. And here's the truth, discipline doesn't mean you're perfect, it just means you're committed. You're not going to get it right every time, you'll mess up, you'll fall. But discipline teaches you to get back up, to not let one bad day become a bad week, to not let failure define you, Because discipline isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become in the process. Direction. That's the word we keep coming back to. Discipline gives you direction when life gets messy, when your emotions get loud, when fear tries to talk you out of greatness. It keeps you steady, it keeps you moving forward. While everyone else is chasing comfort, you're chasing growth. While they're waiting for the perfect moment, you're creating it. That's what separates the successful from the stuck. And here's something most people don't realize. Discipline gives you peace. Not the shallow peace that comes from avoiding responsibility, but the deep peace that comes from knowing you're doing what matters, from knowing you're living on purpose. That's a kind of peace that money can't buy. It comes from self-respect. From looking in the mirror and knowing I'm doing the work, I'm showing up for myself. So no, discipline isn't punishment, it's preparation, it's protection, it's the quiet force that builds empires behind the scenes. When everyone else is playing short-term games, you're building something real, something that lasts, something that matters. And every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you choose consistency over comfort, every time you take one more step forward when quitting would be easier, you're proving something, not to the world, but to yourself. You're proving that you are the kind of person who follows through. You're proving that you're not just dreaming, you're doing. You're proving that success isn't some distant wish, it's a daily decision. And all of that begins with one thing: discipline. Success doesn't come from motivation that fades, but from the discipline that stays, even on days when you don't feel like it. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Because motivation is exciting, it's loud, it makes you feel like you can do anything, it gives you a rush, a spark, a jolt of energy that makes you believe today's the day everything changes. But then the hard part kicks in. The routine, the repetition, the slow progress, and that spark, it fades. That's when the real test begins. That's when discipline steps in and says, let's keep going. Everyone's motivated at the start. Everyone feels fired up when they set the goal, make the plan, and imagine the finish line. But what separates the dreamers from the doers is what happens after that motivation wears off. What happens on day 20 when it's raining and you're tired and the results haven't shown up yet? That's where most people quit. Not because they don't want it, but because they never trained themselves to keep going without the rush of excitement. That's the trap of motivation. It tricks you into thinking you'll always feel ready, but discipline doesn't care if you feel ready. Discipline is a decision. It's a habit. It's that quiet voice in your head that says, do it anyway. It's brushing your teeth when you're half asleep. It's showing up to the gym when your legs are sore. It's working on your goals after a long day when you'd rather lie down and scroll through your phone. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's not something you can post about with flashy captions. But it's what creates results, real lasting results. The truth is, success is boring most of the time. It's not a highlight reel, it's not fireworks, it's repetition. It's showing up again and again, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because deep down, something is changing. Every time you choose to keep going, you're getting stronger, more focused, more resilient. You're building a foundation that motivation alone can't give you. Think about the most successful people in any field. Athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, scientists. Do you really think they felt motivated every day? Of course not. They had days when they doubted everything. Days when they wanted to stay in bed. Days when nothing made sense. But they had something stronger than motivation. They had discipline. And that discipline became their edge, their superpower, the thing that kept them in the game long enough to win. It's easy to work hard when you are inspired. It's easy to stay committed when everything is going your way. But life isn't always smooth. Obstacles come, delays happen, people disappoint you, your energy dips, your progress slows. And that's when most people stop. Not because they're lazy, but because they expected motivation to carry them all the way. But success doesn't respond to how you feel, it responds to how you act, especially when you don't feel like it. Discipline teaches you to stop negotiating with yourself. It removes the emotion from the equation. You don't ask, do I feel like it? You ask, is this part of the plan? And if it is, you do it. That's how discipline works. It keeps you grounded in action, not emotion. It keeps you consistent, and consistency is what success is made of. There is something powerful about knowing you can rely on yourself, not just when you're excited, but when you're exhausted. Not just when things are easy, but when they are brutal. That's the kind of trust that discipline builds. It's the quiet confidence of someone who knows they'll follow through no matter what. That kind of person becomes unstoppable, not because they're the smartest or the fastest or the most gifted, but because they refuse to give up when the feeling fades. And here's the wild part. When you stick with it, even when you don't feel like it, the feeling often comes back. You start to build momentum. You start to feel proud. You start to feel in control. That's a deeper, more powerful kind of motivation, one that's earned, not borrowed. It doesn't come from watching a video or reading a quote. It comes from doing the hard things over and over until they become part of who you are. So yes, motivation will fade. That's normal, that's human. But if you let discipline take the lead, you won't need to wait for the feeling. You will act anyway. You will push forward anyway. And that's where the breakthroughs happen. Not in the moments when everything feels right, but in the moments when nothing does, and you move anyway. Because the truth is, you don't need to be on fire every day. You just need to show up. And when you show up enough times, success doesn't become a matter of if, it becomes a matter of when. Every great person you admire, from athletes to entrepreneurs, chose discipline over comfort. That's what made them unstoppable. Not talent, not luck, not perfect timing, just raw, relentless discipline. The willingness to do what others won't, the courage to stay on the path when it's no longer exciting, the strength to sacrifice ease for excellence. We love to look at people who've made it and think they're different. We see the trophies, the stages, the headlines, the success, but what we don't see are the early mornings, the lonely nights, the constant decisions to keep going when quitting felt easier. Every champion has had those moments where giving in was an option, where the couch looked better than the gym, where silence felt easier than rejection, where comfort whispered, "You've done enough," but they didn't listen. They trained themselves to ignore the noise and follow the process. Comfort is a sneaky trap. It feels good, it tells you you're okay. It wraps you up and says, stay here, why push? But comfort doesn't lead to growth. It doesn't demand more from you. It doesn't challenge your limits. It just keeps you still right where you are. Discipline, on the other hand, is uncomfortable at first. It's that voice that says, get up. That feeling in your stomach when you know there's work to do. It's inconvenient, sometimes painful, but it's the path to mastery. Think of any top performer, the athlete training while others sleep, the musician rehearsing the same piece 1,000 times, the writer editing one sentence for hours, the business leader reviewing numbers long after the office lights are off. They all had talent, yes, but talent without discipline is wasted potential. Talent can open the door, but only discipline will keep you in the room. Only discipline turns potential into progress. That's the truth no one likes to talk about. Discipline is the price of greatness. It means saying no when everyone else says yes. It means missing out on temporary pleasures for long-term purpose. It means delaying rewards, enduring silence, and trusting that every step you take, every repetition, every routine, every small win is building something far bigger than comfort ever could. The world celebrates results, but it rarely applauds the work behind the scenes. No one cheers when you skip the party to study. No one claps when you show up at 5 a.m. to train. No one gives you a medal for consistency. But those moments matter more than anything that happens on stage, because that's where character is forged. That's where confidence is built. That's where success begins, far from the spotlight. People often say they want success, they want the money, the freedom, the recognition, but are they willing to choose discipline over comfort? That's the real question. Are you willing to be bored, tired, and frustrated and still keep going? Are you willing to do the right thing over the easy thing every single day? You can't cheat the process, you can't skip the grind, you can't fake your way to the top. Sooner or later, the truth shows up, and the truth is, disciplined people are dangerous, not because they never fall, but because they always rise. They're not waiting for motivation, they're fueled by purpose. They don't need permission, they create progress. They're not afraid of work, they respect it. That's the difference. And the beautiful thing, discipline is not a gift. You're not born with it, you build it. One choice at a time, one step at a time, you build it. Every time you show up when it's easier not to. Every time you say yes to your goals and no to your excuses. Every time you prove to yourself that your future matters more than your feelings. That's what the greats have done. They have trained themselves to show up no matter what. They don't rely on the mood, the hype, or the perfect moment. They rely on habits, on systems, on the commitment they made long before things got tough. That's what makes them powerful, not the spotlight, but the shadows they conquered to stand in it. So when you look at someone successful and feel like they're ahead of you, remember this: they were once behind too. They once doubted themselves, struggled, failed, and questioned if it was worth it. But they didn't let comfort win. They didn't let their emotions make their decisions. They chose to be disciplined. And that choice, repeated over and over, changed everything. You have that same power, the same ability, the same chance to choose discipline over comfort, to trade ease for excellence, to stop waiting for the perfect time and start becoming the kind of person who creates it. Every time you choose discipline, you get closer. Every time you reject comfort, you rise above average. That's how greatness is built, not in giant leaps, but in daily choices, quiet, consistent, disciplined choices. So now you know the truth. Discipline is not a punishment. It's not a burden. It's not a sacrifice that steals your joy. It's the highest form of self-respect. It's proof that you believe your future is worth the effort. It's the difference between wishing and winning. Because let's face it, dreams are cheap. Everyone has them. Everyone talks about them. But very few are willing to work for them. Very few are willing to go all in, to trade comfort for growth, to stand tall when the world whispers, take it easy. But if you want something extraordinary, you can't live like everyone else. You can't let your mood decide your moves. You can't wait for perfect timing, perfect energy, perfect motivation. You have to act, you have to move, you have to build even when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when no one understands. That's where legends are made, not in the spotlight, but in the silence. Not when it's easy, but when it's brutal. Not when everything feels aligned, but when it all feels like falling apart. And you keep showing up anyway. That's what separates the few who rise from the many who settle. So I'll ask you this: how bad do you want it? How deeply are you willing to commit to the version of you that no one sees yet, but you know is in there? Are you willing to push through the pain of progress? Are you willing to sacrifice who you are for who you could be? Because the truth is, the life you want is already possible. It's not a fantasy, it's not a joke, it's not a distant dream. It's waiting for you on the other side of discipline. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need the perfect background. But you must be consistent. You must be hungry. You must be unstoppable. There will be days when you question yourself, days when your friends are relaxing and you're grinding, days when your progress is invisible. But you have to keep going, you have to keep walking, because you are not chasing a moment. You are building a legacy. Let them sleep while you train. Let them doubt while you rise. Let them laugh while you work. Because one day, the results will speak so loud, they'll silence every excuse, every doubt, every criticism. You are not born to be average. You were not born to be good enough. You were built for greatness. But greatness is rented, and rent is due every single day. You want confidence? Earn it in the mirror. You want power? Build it through pain. You want freedom? Fight for it with discipline. You want success? Stop waiting for a sign. You are the sign. This is your moment right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Because ready is a lie. Winners start when it's hard. Winners start with what they have. Winners start anyway. So rise up, tighten your focus, sharpen your routine, master your habits. Do the boring work, do the hard work, do the unseen work, because all of it matters. Every second, every choice, every rep, every sacrifice. The world doesn't need another person full of potential who never follow through. The world needs someone like you to step into your power, to silence the noise, to crush the excuses, to break the cycle of mediocrity. And if no one else believes in you, good. Let that be your fuel. Let their doubt light your fire. Let their silence echo in your victories. Because discipline is lonely at first, but it's how you win the war. Not just the war against failure, but the war against fear, against weakness, against the version of you that keeps playing small. So don't wait. Don't wait for applause. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect day. Today is already perfect because you're still in the fight. So go. Go take that first step. Go rewrite the story they told about you. Go prove to yourself that you're not just a dreamer, you're a doer. Go become the person they'll talk about long after you're gone. Discipline is not just the key to success. And once you unlock it, nothing can stop you.